Welcome, welcome to the re-report. Appreciate you guys for taking this time to hear me out. I had to come on here because something was on my mind after watching that Clippers and Suns game last night. Of course, we learned right before the game that Kawhi Leonard was injured and he wasn't going to play, which was just very disappointing and very, here we go again. And not blaming Kawhi Leonard or anything. Injuries happen. We do. I mean, AD is a guy that we make fun of and target because he gets injured a lot. But it was a here we go again moment. But that wasn't on my mind. Kawhi didn't end up playing. We know that Paul George is already out. They got Russ over there. And they got a very good coach at the Clippers and Tyronn Lue. But the thing I wanted to talk about were actually the Phoenix Suns. I mean, sometimes, we get told, well, we need to learn not to be a prisoner of the moment. Say the Miami Heat beating the Milwaukee Bucks in game one. I'm sure a lot of Heat fans are probably thinking, oh, this is a sweep. I know Giannis is out, but, we got this. I told y'all not to underestimate us, Miami Heat. People say we can't score, and then we just put up. How many points did they put up on the Milwaukee Bucks in that game one? They put up 130 points after Miami was just having a hard time scoring. See, they put up 130 in game one. They scored just 102 to beat the Hawks in the play-in game. I mean, the Bulls, they scored 105 in a loss against the Hawks. They one of the worst scoring teams. Other examples, prisoner of the moment, a guy goes off, throws for like 5 touchdowns, very next game, we become a prisoner of the moment. And he does this in like week one, talking football now as an example. And then going the rest of the way, that guy's not as good as everyone thought he was going to be because of what he did in week one. What was it, backup name for Green Bay for a long time? Flynn. I think his name was Matt Flynn for the Green Bay Packers. Remember, it was like week 17. The Packers had everything clinched, and Matt Flynn, 2011, throws like 6 touchdowns against Detroit in a contract year, goes into free agency. The Seahawks signed him to a big old contract. Well, was that really a good example? Because they did draft Russell Wilson, and I think Russ started from the jump. Anyway, y'all get the point. So the thing I want to talk about with that were the Phoenix Suns. Looking at the Phoenix Suns coming into the playoffs, I was saying to myself, I do not, as a Laker fan, I do not want the Lakers to play them in the first round. I want to avoid them at all costs. I would feel much more comfortable playing the Grizzlies or the Nuggets or the Sacramento Kings. And all 3 of those teams are good. And we're going to get to the Denver Nuggets. We're going to get there. But I did not want to play the Clippers. I didn't want to play the Clippers either, but I did not want them to play the Suns in the first round. I wanted them to avoid that 5 spot. The Lakers, that is. But looking at the Phoenix Suns now, compared to then, and then was a short while ago, I'm not so afraid of them anymore because of what I see. And y'all let me know in the comments, am I being a prisoner of the moment? Are they going to figure this part of their game out? They lost to the Clippers in game one, 115 to 110. And are these normal minutes? Kevin Durant plays 45 minutes. DeAndre Ayton, 33 is normal. Chris Paul plays 39. Book plays 43. And the bench scores just 10 points. And this was a loss. And then you go to the game they won the other night. They won 123 to 109. Kevin Durant plays 44 minutes. Chris Paul plays 38. Book plays 45. The bench scores 13. And a win. And then last night against the Clippers, with no Kawhi Leonard, no Paul George, just a great coach in Tyronn Lue, Russell Westbrook, who has something to prove, and Norman Powell went out for 42 points, 7 3-pointers. But it takes the entire, when I make this point, of course we can say, well, that's Tyronn Lue over there coaching. This is probably the best coach in basketball. Those players still got heart. They still got some players over there. But they don't have Kawhi. They don't have PG. And the bench scores 18 points. But Book plays 45 minutes, 45 points. Chris Paul plays 41 minutes. Kevin Durant plays 42 minutes. And my thing is, how long is this going to last? How long can they hold up? I mean, you don't. I'm not hoping for an injury. I'm not sitting here, like praying somebody gets hurt, because that's just not cool. If that was my thought process, and if that's anyone's thought process. But when people do get hurt, like Ja Morant, and I'm a Laker fan, it's part of the game, unfortunately. Injuries are part of the game. It's not something we hope for. We just hope for a bad game from our opponents, and that we play the correct defense to take them out of the game. But we're not hoping they get hurt. But we do have to take that into account when talking about this. Kevin Durant playing all these minutes, Book and Paul, they don't have any bench depth. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to make. They have no bench depth, and I'm not sure how long this is going to last. I don't think they are as scary as I once thought they were. The Phoenix Suns. I don't think they're that scary. I don't think they're a team that, nobody wants to play. I'm not saying you be licking the chops to play them, lining up to play them. They're still a very good team. But this is the playoffs now. And we still got the semifinals, the conference finals, and the NBA finals. And we're still in the first round also. So, I'm not so sure. My last point, I said we were going to get back to the Denver Nuggets. I'm not so sure now that the Nuggets are the jokes that I once thought they were. Because I'm looking at their depth, I'm looking at their lineup and what they got off the bench. I mean, we know what they have starting. Michael Porter Jr., one of my favorite players. But I'm not so sure that Phoenix can beat this team in the second round. And unfortunately, I do think Phoenix is going to win the first round series against the Clippers. Injuries are just ripping this team apart. They tried load management, and Kawhi still got injured. And I think this is, he and Paul George's last go-around, trip around the sun. No pun intended. But I do think this is it for that team. I'm not firing Tyronn Lue. Like I said, one of the best coaches in basketball, if not the best. I don't know a coach. Maybe Eric Spoelstra. You have a lot of good coaches out there, but I think this is the best coach in basketball right now. So you're not firing him, but I think they're going to blow this thing up, because it's like, what else is left? It's like Portland. Portland finally decided, look, we've reached, and nobody's going to come out here and play with Dame and CJ. No other superstar. They reached their full potential. They got to the conference finals. They got swept by a KD-less Warriors team. This is it. That was it for Portland. They had to blow it up. This is it for the Clippers. They have to blow it up. But the Phoenix Suns are not as scary as I once thought they were. And I'm not so sure now that they can beat the Denver Nuggets in the second round of the playoffs. Because Denver has depth. The Suns are going to have to play Book, Paul, and not to mention Paul is 37, 38. And Kevin Durant, who's been injured a lot, who we saw a freak injury in a layup line. And then there's Ayton, who doesn't always show up and be a 7-footer, getting out-rebounded by 6'3" guards like Russell Westbrook, who was a great rebounder, by the way. But when you 7 foot, you shouldn't be letting no 6'3" guy out-rebound you. So with that said, like I said, I'm just not so sure that the LA Clippers or the Phoenix Suns are locked like I once thought.